Hi, darlings. This is Katerina Satori coming to you from Laguna Beach. I am recording this live stream on Facebook, and I will share this live stream on YouTube and on Vimeo afterwards. So it was big joy in my heart. We just began, so you're joining at the perfect timing. And I just wanted to open the dialogue. Today is the full moon and also equinox. And for those of you guys who joined my free online event tomorrow, I will be hosting remote healing session, energy clearing session. And if you guys joined, it's going to be a powerful event. I have no idea what's going to come through tomorrow because I get out of the way and create the container. And those who were called to join, you guys going to be there. We reached our capacity. So if you didn't have a chance to join, it's all right. You will get to go through the replay. And, for those of you who guys joined live, then please keep your commitment and show up to the call. It's complimentary. It's free. Let's create a strong container. The reason I felt guided to share that event tomorrow is because there's a special alchemy happens when we gather as one organism. You know, in the good old book, what does it say? When there is two or more gathered in my name, I will be there amongst them, right? So the Bible, I used to study Bible, you guys. There's so many things you don't know about my life, but one of the chapters of my life that I used to be like a highly conservative Christian. And a long time ago, I finished Bible college, things like that. And I was a devoted student of the Bible. Now I see this great book through completely new eyes. I see pretty much everything written in the Bible as a symbol, as a code, as a metaphor, right? And it's one of the texts that we can receive some wisdom. I don't believe it's the text. So anyway, but I remember that paragraph, when two or more gather in my name. And I really believe there is truth to that, because what happens, you guys, alchemically, one mind joins other mind in unity of the same intention, you are tapping into a completely new field of possibilities. Hi, you guys. I'm watching. You're joining. So today's topic, I wanted to share with you just some life stories of how I got to fall in love with unknown, and also recent breakthroughs and recent insights. Last night, you guys, I could not fall asleep. For some reason, my mind was very active. And how many of you had that experience? So I picked up a book. I have, tons of books in my house. And this book I've had on my shelf for about a year. And you know how sometimes you have a book and it's sitting there, and then you get this message. It's time for you to read it. So this is the book called Spontaneous Evolution. And my friend Dallas recommended it. It's a little bit dense in the reading format. It's very dense, so you would take a paragraph, chew on it, but it's really amazing book. So many incredible people recommend, like Marianne Williams has said, if you are in the field of human transformation, get this book. So I began reading it, and there was this one paragraph literally in the very beginning that stood out so much that I decided to do this live stream because of this paragraph. And this paragraph talks about spontaneous evolution, how we evolved as humans. And there is this experience called punctuated equilibrium. Punctuated equilibrium. I know there's a fancy words, you guys, but stay with me. It's going to be so clear. If you followed any of my posts at all, or maybe you're just brand new to my work, I often share this message that change happens for evolution. Chaos is a signal that the new order is coming into your life. Remember these two premises, you guys, and I'll share with you life stories that really confirm this again and again and again. Change is always for evolution, to push you forward, to pull you forward, and chaos is a signal that a new order is coming into your life. And now I'm going to read you this short one sentence. If things are so hopeful, why do we have such a mess right now? Talking about our planet and the mess that we have. In our discussion of evolution, we will describe the nature of punctuated equilibrium, in which crisis drives evolution. There are vastly long periods of stability that are punctuated by radical and unpredictable changes. Crisis ignites evolution. Vastly long periods of stability that are punctuated by radical, unpredictable changes. Crisis ignites evolution. I wanted to call this live stream Crisis Ignites Evolution. But then I thought, maybe for some people it's going to be too dramatic, too in your face of a kind of a headline. Then I'll just going to soften it a little bit and I'll say how to fall in love with evolution. Guys, this was such a pivotal shift in my consciousness. And I will continue to share this message until I will see more and more people receive this epiphany that can absolutely change how you experience your reality. And it's this understanding that every crisis in your life serves as an alchemical, catalytic event to accelerate evolution of your life. It doesn't feel like that in the moment. When the crisis comes into your life, you usually say, crap, I just stabilized a little bit. My life just felt like a little oasis. And here's another crisis comes. Here's another change comes. So I laugh at this because, you guys, life taught me to embrace change from very, very early age. And I deeply believe that we are being trained since early time, since the moment we can receive training as a soul, we begin our training for our big assignment, for our dharma, for that calling that you feel you carry in your heart, that calling that asks you and invites you to rise in the morning, no matter how tired or how lost you may feel at times. There's this bigger assignment burning in you. So on the soul level, you will be trained to prepare for that assignment, right? And my soul trained my personality since very, very early age. And there was very little stability when I was growing up. Stability was very mutative experience. I was forced in a way to embrace change. And when the moment, which actually prepared me so much for entrepreneurship, leadership, living life through creative eyes. And I'll never forget when Byron Katie, one of my favorite teachers, she said, the moment I fell in love with unknown, I found my true freedom, or something of that sort. And I contemplated with that, on that quote, when you fall in love with the unknown, you are truly free. I was like, why is that? Why is change drives evolution? Why is crisis ignites evolution? And why the secret to ultimate freedom? Because ultimately, you guys, no matter how different we may look, you look differently than me. You have a different path, you have a different dharma, but we are all the same. On the core level, we all want this one thing more than anything in the world. We want freedom. We want to feel free. And why is it the secret to unlocking that freedom is to fall in love with the unknown? Are you guys still with me? Have I lost you? I know I went really, really deep with you guys. So the reason why that matters is because when change comes into our life and the winds of change begin to blow and it feels disorienting in the moment, the more you can welcome the change with an open heart. And how does it look, you guys? On a very practical level, scientists discover again and again that our genes are affected not by what we inherit from our parents. Our genes are affected by our environment. External environment, more than anything, internal environment. And I'm going to tie it all together. I'm just building the context, still building the background for you guys, with you, together. But the moment I began to realize, it's basically my main responsibility day after day after day is to cultivate such strong inner environment that no matter what occurs outside, no matter what experience of life is asking me to experience, change, unknown, more unknown, another pivot, another change. If I find a way to communicate to my cells that I am deeply secure in my world, that my true center, that my true security always comes from within, not only I will move through the time of unknown with a lot more joy and a lot more grace and a lot more openness, but I'm actually going to extract all the wisdom and all the learning experience from this unknown pivot on my path. Let me see if you guys are still with me. So our environment, I'm going to post an article after this live stream, how the Russian scientists, my countrymen, I'm originally from Russia, you guys, they've been doing all these experiments to scientifically prove how our DNA can receive instructions from two things: our words and our frequencies. Write this down, you guys, and remember this. This is like such a powerful information, such a powerful knowledge that can change your life. If your DNA is so sensitive, it can be redirected, it can be reprogrammed by your words and by the frequency. Then when you are in the midst of change, the worst thing we can do is to panic and lower our frequency by giving the authority of our creative mind to fear, to other people's agendas, right? To the stress, hormones. That's the worst thing, because then your DNA begins to contract. Your DNA begins to shut down. When your DNA begins to contract, your ability to see bigger possibilities begins to contract as well. So I always say, you guys, when I work with people, for those of you who may be new to my work, I'm a mentor, I'm a creator, and I create different programs. I work with people one-on-one. A lot of times, you guys, it's just a matter of time where a client of mine or a student of mine will go through this very powerful process called death and rebirth, alchemically. The old identity will be asked to be let go, and it feels like death, for the soul to come through. And for me as a mentor to be able to hold space in those moments like a spiritual midwife, right? I have to cultivate such inner serenity, such presence, and such clarity, because the dominant frequency always wins. What I mean by dominant, not as controlling, but as elevated frequency, like a grandfather clock, right? You guys know that example. Clocks will always sink into the most strongest clock in the room. So This information that I'm sharing with you, darlings, comes from hard experience. You know, when I would not know how to deal with change. And I would allow my mind to get frightened, not realizing that the frightened mind lowers my vibration, gives a very strong command to my DNA to shut down, shut down, shut down. And all I could focus at that time is how limited my choices. Now I know better, I do better, and I continue to share and beam this message. That if you focus on strengthening your inner world, there is nothing outside that can frighten you. Nothing. And if you are on the path of leadership, of service, entrepreneurship, if you're on the path of awakening or ascension, right? And those people who watch these live streams that I do, you guys advanced group. The moment you begin to see that every obstacle, every trial, every uncertainty is chosen by your oversoul to help you build such a strong inner world, that no matter what your path will ask of you in the future, you know how to lift up your consciousness above your circumstances and find your true power. And then eventually you begin to smile, you begin to welcome all of these changes. You begin to see it as this divine play of consciousness. You know, you guys, this is sovereignty. You know, people ask me, what is sovereignty? This is sovereignty. How deeply I am connected to my core, to the seat of my soul, behind the belly button. Let's do this together, my loves. And I just take a little moment because I know I just gave a lot. It's time to slow down the nervous system. Let's take a deep breath together. And just this moment, I invite you to shift all your attention. You can keep your eyes open, you can keep your eyes closed. Shift all your attention into the seat of your soul. Behind the belly button, there is a sacred spot where there is a link between your body and your subconscious mind and the seat of your soul. And simply slow down your breathing by focusing on that very powerful place. Notice the shift in your physiology, where you shifted your true power from the mental plane into the seat of your soul. And you know who taught me this exercise? Always give credit where the credit is due. One of my beloved teachers, Richard Rudd, who brought us evolutionary transmission of the gene keys. It is absolutely normal to get frightened, to lose your center, to feel even panic. When life presents with you huge change, right? It is normal to have that feeling, holy crap, how I'm gonna deal with this. What is not normal is to stay in that contracted awareness and wallow in it and allow yourself to be dragged down a spiral and spiral and spiral of contracted awareness, limited option. I am alone in this. Why is it not normal, you guys? Because when we choose to do that, we choose to send a very limited instructions to our DNA. And DNA is a cosmic library. It's a storehouse of information. On the esoteric level, this is your soul's memory. lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, you've been changing these costumes that we call human body. Let me know in the comments if you're resonating with this, you guys. But lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, we've been changing this costume. Costume after costume after costume, we call it lifetimes. And we've been everything and everybody, mothers and sons, husbands and wives, heroes and villains, and everything in between. And for every single one of you to even receive this transmission, you have reached such elevated level of understanding to recognize and hear your own power, to even have a glimpse of, wow, I am a creator. You know, I am calling every single experience because I desire to experience it. Life begins to be so amusing at times, effortless at other times, an incredibly exciting journey when you begin to fall in love with change. Remember those two premises that I shared with you, my loves. Crisis ignites evolution. Chaos is a signal that a new order is coming into your life. And the secret sauce of how to move and how to navigate those moments, right? The secret sauce is finding that place of power behind your belly button and zooming on that and just zooming on that, you guys, right? And that's available to everybody. It's free to all. You know, I have not been taught this. I wish, you guys, I wish my mom or my dad would sit me down when I was 7 years old and said, Katerina, life will bring you a lot of change. In fact, the only constant that you can count on in this human life is change. And with what your soul chose for this incarnation, change is the name of the game for you. So allow us to teach you how to navigate change with dignity and with grace and with a lot of joy and actually enthusiasm. So, darlings, we're not taught this. You know, we don't come with instruction manual. Usually, the moment we are, you know, somewhat ready to meet our first trial by fire or our first you know, deep dive into the seas of change, we learn this through experience. We'll learn this sometimes through exhaustion, you know, by realizing how exhausting it is to fight change, how exhausting it is to live in the constant distrust of unknown. And, you know, also what society teaches us, darlings, is that we can find stability the more we can make our external life stable. That's the programming, that's the message. You know, you get a bigger house, you get a better car, you get a better paycheck, you secure a good partner, right? Well, how's that working out for all of us? Sooner or later, the first dark night of the ego, I used to say dark night of the soul, but it's actually dark night of the ego. When it comes to you or to me, you realize and your world, your external world begins to crumble like the house of cards. That's called the dark night of the ego, darlings. I find it so amazing. Then you begin to realize that this external security is a house of cards. And, you know, I got how many really, really wealthy people I've met on my path. A lot of them, you guys. And very few have found deep inner security. A lot of them, the richer they become, the more anxious they become about, perceived external attack, right? What if this rich is going to get lost? What if somebody kidnaps my kids? All of these external or all of these internal nightmares. So what looks like externally stable, if it doesn't have a very strong inner core, strong inner security, it's just a house of cards. And it's just a matter of the first wind of change coming and blowing it all. Or a health crisis, right, you guys? So I came to this realization on this path that the faster I find a way to build and to discover and to uncover my true inner security, the happier I will be. And the better service I can give to my clients, to my students, to the people who entrusted me for the time being, right? To anybody who is my friend, because I bring my energy with me. And it's much more, it's just about a feeling to be around somebody who cracked the code of serenity, right, darlings? So this is the message today, that if you're not there yet, if this is like a great conversation, you're like, Katerina, I so want to be this. I so want to find joy in unknown. I invite you to trust that you will unlock that. With every time you find the stillness, with every time you connect to that center of the seat of your soul, this embodied realization of this, that you trust the change so much, it's a knowing. It's just the way that life taught you so many times. But these powerful changes happen in micro changes. That's why I always focus on sharing a practice, sharing a mindset, and sharing a tool. Because if I give you a tool and you can go and experiment with that, there's very high chance that you will realize, wow, this tool actually works. And then, there's a high chance that you're going to implement it and you're going to create a true change in your life. So the tool that I gave you today, the practice, right, is to simply notice when you get frightened. Maybe you watched a lot of news, and if you still watch news, you guys, this is gonna extend your lifespan if you decide not to watch news anymore. And this is maybe controversial perspective. I got rid of my TV how many years ago? 7 years ago. I don't have a cable. I don't watch news. And because I truly believe if something that I require to know, people will find a way to let me know. And but whatever that happens, you're in leadership. Leadership can be very turbulent path. You constantly get to pivot. You constantly get to course correct. There's so much going at you. And so this practice, very simple practice, can apply to everybody. If you are a mother, oh my goodness, every mother that raises children through conscious parenting, I want to bow down at your feet. Because there's, if we ever change, if we ever see any change in our humanity, it starts with new generations, right? This new generation. So if you are a mother who raises her children consciously, I bow to you. And I can only imagine the amount of stress that's coming at you from every corner. So this is a practice for everybody, entrepreneurs, mothers, people who work for major corporations, people who work for small firms. Doesn't matter who you are. Change is something that you can count on. So learning to shift our awareness from the mental plane, and the mental plane can be a really, really powerful place to be if you know how to reach a higher mental body, not a small, frightened human mind. That's easy. That's a survival mechanism. But if you can reach the higher mental plane, if we have time, I'm going to show you a graph, you guys. I brought a graph today with me. But there's this powerful alchemy happens when we shift our awareness from the survival brain into the center of our true intelligence, the area of our gut, the area of our intuition, subconscious mind, and the seat of the soul. And just fusing all of your attention there. And maybe, beginning to declare, because remember, in the beginning of this live stream, I shared with you that our DNA is drastically affected by the words and the frequencies. Words and frequencies, right? So you shift all your attention in your area of the behind the belly button, and then you begin to declare to your DNA something along this line. I am a sovereign being. I love and embrace change. I welcome change with open heart. I'm fully capable to meet every change, every challenge, and every trial with deep honor, dignity, and grace in my heart. And this could be your version of giving a command to your cells, to your DNA, giving a new instructions to rewire the survival patterns and to choose to build a very strong, sovereign inner kingdom within. You guys, this is how simple it could be. This is how powerful a change could be. And what you may find that the more you ground it to the point of embodiment, and what I mean by embodiment, this is your first response when change comes. Change comes, your first response, feel the physical sensation in the body. Oh, it's a new experience. Oh, this new pivot on my path. Oops, didn't expect that coming, right? So I trained my body to celebrate change by utilizing this process that I just shared with you guys. One experience at a time. One experience at a time. Macro changes is built through micro alignments. I learned that from one of my mentors, Alex Moscow, at his event. Giving credit to him, it was a powerful perspective. A lot of times we sabotage ourselves by imagining this massive, drastic change, right? It's good to dream big, but then chunk it down to the micro alignments. What is the micro alignment that you get to commit on a daily basis? That your change is actually sustainable. Your process of transformation is sustainable. So micro alignment, you begin to get excited about change instead of frightened and being contracted. Hi, darlings. Are you still with me? Every time I'm like, it's going to be a shorter live stream, maybe a few points I'll cover. But once I go live with you guys, it just feels good. It feels good to my heart to share these principles with you. And I see your comments. My phone is in front of me. I see your comments. I'm going to stay and take your questions, you guys. Also, a couple announcements. So I have a Facebook group called Ascension Portal with Katerina Satori. Darlings, this is the very first free Facebook group that I've ever created on the 6-year journey of being an online entrepreneur. I had an old belief, guys. This is transparency 2.0. I had an old belief. I never believed in free Facebook groups. I had slight aversion towards an idea because I was thinking, free Facebook group, people are saturated with information. People are starved for wisdom and lasting transformation, but they're bombarded by information. I don't want to be another person who creates a free Facebook group and people don't value it. Transparency 3.0. And then I began to, this year, oh no, that was last year, I just had this inspiration. I was like, you know what? A lot of my transmissions becoming more mystical, more esoteric, and more metaphysical. And what would feel great is to have a container, right? A container for other mystical souls. So I decided to experiment and to open up a free Facebook group. I was like, I'm just going to experiment. I'm just going to see how I like it, you know, how people will enjoy it. And if I don't like it, I will close it down. So it's been a few months, you guys, and I decided to actually really put some life force and commitment into this group because I see how people who are attracted to this group are actually very enthusiastic about everything I share there. And there's a great container of receptivity and thirst for mystical knowledge. So to solidify this commitment, I decided that every Wednesday, I will create a transmission specifically for that group. Every Wednesday, unless I'm traveling, some kind of emergency, or I'm recovering from something. And it's either going to be noon or in the evening. It's a challenge for me to give a specific time, you guys, because I got to feel the transmission. I got to feel the current coming through. So I will focus it on a Wednesday, and it's going to be either noon or in the evening. I will always let you know. But this is a transparency 2.0, darlings. I identified my own limiting belief, and I was like, you know what? Let me prove that limiting belief wrong. And let's see if this group will really come alive as a collective, as a group, a unified container. So if you're not there, put your tail in there, and it's free to join. Invite your friends, invite other mystical souls. But I wanted to go just a little bit deeper with you guys about Ascension, maybe for 10 minutes. Because I want to demystify the whole idea about Ascension. I want to demystify it with you, not for you, because you're going to have your own understanding of it. I will just share with you my always evolving understanding of Ascension process. And, you know, people say heaven on earth, fifth dimensional consciousness. If you ever been to some of my trainings, I talk a lot about several different dimensions, right? But there's this whole process of unlocking heaven on earth from the inside out. So ascension process, it's not something that we literally ascend to, even though it feels to your consciousness as you are accelerating and uplifting into your frequency. You ascend every single time you choose love over fear. I hope somebody can write this down in the comments, you guys. We ascend every moment we choose love over fear. Every single victorious choice. You notice, oh my goodness, life presented me this juicy opportunity. And even though I had all the reasons to be afraid, I connected with the seat of my soul and I chose love. In that specific moment, you ascended. I love you, Bobby Steady. He just wrote it down. We ascend every moment we choose love over fear. That's it, my loves. Let's demystify this whole ascension thing. So it's a moment by moment experience, and it's also an event that lasts your entire incarnation. How amazing is that? How amazing is that, you guys? Right? Thank you so much for writing this down. You're choosing love, right? You're choosing love. And then is there a time for a graph? Let me share a graph with you guys. I want you to see how limitless and majestic your essential nature is. Because the moment you stop seeing yourself as just the body, and the body is the most glorious vehicle to host your awareness, but your awareness holds the body, not the body that holds awareness. So let me show you the graph, because the graph will be so much easier. Are you guys ready for the graph? Okay, let me shift to Zoom. Some of you have seen this graph in my classes. Let's see. I'm gonna wait. Yeah, yay! Okay, you guys, I am such a nerd when it comes to graphs. I love that we're recording this. Let's take this amazing graph in. You know, every time the survival brain kicks in, when you are in fear, worry, anxiety, stress. When you are stressed, and you guys, how easy it is to be stressed in the world that we live in, super, super easy. Doesn't take much work to be stressed, right? So the reason I'm sharing this is for you to see what's at play when you choose to return to the seat of your soul, to your sovereign soul, and you choose to remember who you truly are. So let's take a look at here, you guys. So all the way, I don't know if you, how can I annotate? Oh, wow. Hold on, you guys. I think I can do something here. I can do a mouse. So, no, not this. Clear. Okay, I can draw here. Okay, you guys, so you see this little self, right? This tiny little self, this is your condensed elemental vehicle that calls your physical body. So majority of people, the reason why they're so frightened by change is because they identify themselves with this condensed elemental vehicle we call human body. And if you see yourself like that, the world is a frightening place. The world is a really frightening place, my loves, right? This is why I'm doing these live streams, to help us all to remember how massive and limitless we truly are. So let me see how to do this here. You guys, I'm experimenting and innovating right here on the spot with you. So majority of people think they're here. Let's go take a look. Then you have your astral body right here. The next big circle is your astral body, you guys. How many of you know what's the astral body? The astral body is what travels in your dreams, what travels in your nightmares, what travels in your dreams. Your astral body, the more you purify your astral body is the part of you that holds any and all unexpressed desires, fantasies, emotions, resentments, pain, and anxieties, anything that you don't feel proper to feel in your conscious self-expression, anything that is not acceptable to your personality, to your ego mind, will be stored in your astral body. Eckhart Tolle calls it pain body. Right, you guys? So this graph is very helpful because it puts everything in perspective. And if you just joined, I do invite you to replay this live stream because there's a whole build up for this. But that's all right. Whatever you joined, you're right in the perfect time. Accept it and declare that. So darlings, here's our astral body, right? So astral body holds the most amount of emotional pain, emotional imprints, karmic imprints, right? That's why most of my work with people always focused on frequency, helping them to remove the layers of inherited ancestral suffering, right? Whatever that your mom hasn't solved, whatever your dad hasn't solved on the level of emotions, on the level of energy, on the level of unforgiveness, you take it all in through the wormhole we call your DNA. The same thing with your grandparents, the same thing with your parents. And this is why there will be a point on your spiritual path when you begin to realize that. You're like, oh my goodness, willpower is not enough. I get to clear my mental body. I get to clear my emotional body. I get to clear my energy body. And you continue this purification process, right? And it's such a glorious process because then the more you clear this junk, this toxicity from your DNA, the more you liberate your brilliancy, your genius, your ultimate potential, because nothing is clogging for that, right? So, darlings, take a look at this higher mental vehicle right here. This is your higher mental vehicle. This is what happens when you expand your mind through meditation, contemplation, right? Being with your heart. The more you grow this higher self, the more you see this life from a completely different vantage point, the less you become frightened by the changes, the less you become frightened, the more you become expanded. And off and on we go. We can go to the solar angel, solar logos, and solar monad. I am back. The reason I wanted to share this with you, darlings, to give you this graph. So when your survival brain gets frightened, you have the process and you know where to look for your true security, for your true stability. Because the one thing that we completely out of control is what tomorrow will bring, right? We don't know. We don't know what next moment's going to bring. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. We don't know. And to accept that is wisdom. How to walk this life as an exciting adventure. That's the beautiful mastery for us to develop. That's an opportunity there. So when something new comes my way, I say, where is that opportunity? I celebrate change. Where's an opportunity? Where's an opportunity? So, darlings, I was not gonna announce it today, but I feel it's coming through. I see there is such a power in really developing our higher mental body, really developing this highway with your higher mental body, because the higher mental body and the survival brain are two very different realities, as you guys saw from the graph, right? Very different realities. So your higher mental body is the source of magic. Your higher mental body is the source of a divine inspiration, open possibilities, vision, right? All of your divine connection to this infinite intelligence, infinite possibilities. Your higher mental body is the connecting link. So the process that I shared with you, you guys, will help you shift from the frightened survival brain to this expanded higher mental body. And I will continue to share more tools and more processes to make that transition easeful, joyful, and graceful, because we are not taught this. You know, like I always say, you know, we don't come to this planet with a manual. Hey, welcome to the planet Earth. You have, generally speaking, 7 subtle bodies. You will first develop your physical body. Then you will begin to develop your emotional body. Then the mental body formation will begin. Then you will begin to experience your causal body. And then eventually, if you evolve there, you will begin to get a glimpse of your Buddhic body, Atmic body, and your solar logos body. We don't get the manual like that, right, darlings? What if we did? What would be possible if you knew how to not only access all these different dimensions of you, but how to stay in contact with them, how to create from much higher reality. I'm going to plant many, many seeds with this live stream. For those of you who are going to join me on a free online event tomorrow, I will share more. For those of you who wanted to be there but missed it because that event is full, you guys, I will send the replay to everybody who is on my email list. And if you are on my email list, nothing for you to do but to receive, right? And if you're not, you guys, if you just scroll through my personal page, you will see a link to sign up for a meditation album called 21 Day of Presence. And that's how you join. And I'm very, very, very organic with my email communication. I don't like to be bombarded by emails. It's actually the fastest way for me to unsubscribe. So I approach the same thing with my subscribers. I only write to you when I feel inspired and I have something of genuine value to offer. And so if that feels good, subscribe. And this way, you know, you'll be the first one to receive the replays for the trainings that I do, announcements for the live events that I host, or any new courses that are coming up. And the new course is coming up, you guys. I did not think I was going to announce it today. There's actually nothing to join just yet. I'm just going to plant the seed. The new course that I will be, the virtual doors will be opening up probably end of next week or the following one, is called Sovereign Mind. And I got instructions from the higher beings, my galactic team that I'm working with, my spirit guides, that this is what collective requires for everybody's empowerment. And I've been nurturing that intention of like what the container, how it's gonna look like. So I will share all the details probably by the end of next week. But this is the next live training that will be coming up for anybody to join, but especially if you work with clients, if you work with people. You guys, if you don't have a very strong process to help your students or your clients to understand their minds. Number one, if you want to change anything, you got to be able to understand it, how it works, how it sabotages itself, how it defeats itself through through stress or fear or anxiety, all these lower mental states. And if you don't have a process or a practice that you give to your clients, teaching them how to transform any low mental state into a higher mental state, to reach that higher mental body, you are doing a disservice to your clients. Why? Because it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time that on the way to their mastery, to their breakthroughs, to their goals, they're going to hit upper limit, glass ceiling, inner resistance. And if they don't have a strong enough mindset, this is going to be the end for that attempt to transform their life. So I've realized that I constantly teach this process and how to develop a truly undefeatable, is that a word like this? How to develop undefeatable mind. That's what I call the sovereign mind. I constantly train my private clients on this for them to succeed, for them to overcome any challenges in leadership and business. But I had this massive epiphany that I have never offered that as a small group container, as a live training. And then when I came back from Egypt, you guys, I was woken up at 5 a.m, literally by a voice. That's how I usually get my biggest downloads from the higher realms, because I'm clairaudient, ability to hear clearly from other dimensions. And I just heard this command, instruction, was 2 words: sovereign mind. And I recognized that was the voice of Thoth, which was and is a great messenger, a great a divine being, the God of wisdom and enlightenment, of course. If you want to Google Thoth and go down that rabbit hole, I also teach about him in my course, Ascended Masters. Those of you who took with me that training, you guys know that's the first class. We go into learning from Thoth, which is representative of the higher mind. So that's what I want to leave that at this, just planting some seeds. You guys, I really hope this live stream gave you a lot of clarity of how to navigate change, because that's something we can count on. There will be times of stability in your life. And oh my goodness, how delicious those times are. It's like a calm sea. When I wake up, the first thing I see is the ocean from every room, live by design. So when I see the ocean every morning, I see different waves. And those special days where the water is calm and it looks like glass, beautiful blue glass. That's what the metaphor for me, for the times of stability in our life, the time of oasis, of integration, of, a certain calm, right? And then when I wake up next day, and the first thing I hear is wind. And then I look into the ocean and I see waves. And the stronger the wind, the stronger the waves. And just like that in our lives, if you are still enough, you can intuit the wind of change that coming in your business, the wind of change coming in your relationships, in your business partnerships, in your relationship with your children. The wind of change begins to blow and you begin to hear. And if you train your ear, you will recognize that change. And if you're in a leadership position, you must develop that ability to hear the wind of change before it knocks you off your feet. So this is our life. Times of stability and calm, times of turbulence and great change. And all of that is a play of consciousness, right? Play of consciousness. And how we interact with either one, all emanations of great spirit, all emanations of divine play of consciousness, how we face either calm or the storm is a true test of our evolution, of our maturity, and of our spiritual growth. So this reason, I bow to the winds of change. I welcome it. I see futility in resistance. I see futility in fighting and screaming and complaining. If I do that, that's available. But I'm only going to lower my frequency, and I'm only going to pull myself down the spiral. And I know how that feels. I also know how the different alternatives feel. By going through the process that I shared with you in this live stream, if you just take on that practice, darlings, your life will not be the same. Yes, it's free and it's easy to receive this and not do anything about it. But for those of you who implementers, those of you who actually receive something that moves them and makes sense logically and say, I'm going to go and apply it. I honor you. Apply it. See how these seeds of change, seeds of transformative consciousness will sprout and bring a lot of fruit of wisdom in your life. I love you. Thank you for sharing this time with me. And I will see you guys soon. Thank you for the gift of your presence and your attention. I'm excited to give you more details about the new program that's coming out. I am very thrilled to not even teach it. You know, I'm very thrilled to create a container for this alchemy and to help and assist and serve the souls who are ready to unlock their true body of magic called the higher mental body, and to discover the power of the sovereign mind. More soon. Thank you. And as always, I'm in deep appreciation for every single comment, every single engagement on this live stream, and every single share. Thank you for being a blessing.